Welcome to the Break Vape podcast. I am your host, Tami Ernst. If you are an overwhelmed mom struggling to quit vaping after trying everything in your power to quit, then you are in the right place, mama. Each week on the show, we analyze stress, vaping, and addiction from a place of zero self-judgment so that you can build up the skills you need to ditch your vapes for good. Are you ready? Let's get to work. Hi everyone, how are you guys doing today? I hope that you are all doing very well and are getting very curious, thinking about how to quit vaping. And on that note, I have a question for you guys. How many times, if ever, have you actually broken your vape? And then what did you do with it? If you have just been tossing vapes in the garbage and then probably pulling them out later in a fit of desperation, then this episode is for you because I'm going to show you how to do something different with them. And by the way, my friends, I say that from a place of zero self-shame and zero self-judgment because here's a secret. Yes, I am saying it. The secret is coming out. Guess what? You are not alone. So many of us vapors who struggle to quit have tossed our vapes into the trash just to dig them out again later. Today, we're going to talk about 5 creative and symbolic ways that you can take that vape that is weighing you down and do something transformational with it. But first, I want to share a funny story with you all. I like to break vapes in water. That has always been my ceremonious thing. And last week, I had a photography session at my house to get some new photos for the podcast. And I thought it would be interesting to let this particular vape sit in water for a while to see if the water would change colors and then use that to showcase some before and after pictures. So I put this vape that is in the water in my closet where kiddos can't get to it. And then I proceeded to forget all about it. I actually left Idaho to go to Houston for 10 days and I just got back. And when I walked into my closet, I did a double take because there was this vape just sitting in a glass of water welcoming me home. If anyone else were to walk in my closet and didn't know about this podcast, I think they might have some questions for me. But then I sat with the thought for a while of how rewarding it feels to not have the urges to vape anymore, to just not want it, and to be able to display that courage of breaking your vape almost like a trophy. So that is something you can be proud of that reflected your decision to quit. And the water actually did change colors from clear to a brownish orange. So if you're curious about that, maybe try this one out for yourself. So today I want to give you some ways to make these broken vape trophies for yourself using your own unique gifts. I love this topic so much because physically breaking our vapes in a ceremonious way is one of the many unique and introspective things that I do to help us here at Break Vape. Now, before we dive in, I do have a safety note about the actual act of destroying a vape in some of the ways that we're going to talk about. Vapes in and of themselves are dangerous and they can explode. In fact, if you haven't heard the buzz, there have been some really tragic ways that people have been hurt and have even been killed from vapes exploding. So before you grab your hammer, please be careful and make sure that you are breaking your vape in a safe way by first taking it to a professional or doing some research for yourself to find out which way feels the safest for you. Okay, now back to the fun part. Let's go over these 5 artistic ways to break your vape, and then we'll see which one was your favorite. So number 1 is the time capsule. This is where you can seal a vape in a clear resin block along with other items that represent a certain season of your life, a time period, or other personal memories. And this will serve as that time symbolizing the end of an era and the preservation of the moment when the decision to quit was made. I think this idea is so cool. I actually found some transparent silicone molds for resin casting on Amazon that I can't wait to use to do this for myself. And it looks a lot easier than I would have thought. If you just type into Google clear resin block, you'll see lots of kit making options to choose from, or you can always Google to find a professional resin artist that can help you. Number 2 is an artistic meltdown. Think about this. With this option, you can have a sculpture created by melting down the components of a vape, which can be done very safely by a professional who can handle the materials without risk. Then the melted components can be transformed into a piece of art, symbolizing the transformation from harmful to beautiful. Love that one. Number 3 is tech conversion. This is where, again, making sure that you pay attention to safety, you can disassemble a vape completely and use its parts to build a little DIY, do-it-yourself techie gadget like a little flashlight or something along those lines. And this represents repurposing and recycling, turning something negative into a positive tool. And you can put your science skills to work to come up with some unique ideas on this one. That brings me to number 4. I absolutely love this one also. This is the planting transformation. For this one, you're basically going to take your broken vape and turn it into a plant. You can use a non-functional vape and turn it into a tiny planter. You'll want to break your vape in a clean way, like I'll explain in the next example, and then get a little pot and fill it with a bit of soil and a little plant like a succulent. This symbolizes growth and the replacement of a toxic habit with nurturing life. And a side note on this one, I recommend keeping your plant with you for as long as you want, but please don't go plant it out in nature because the plastic, metal, and other parts will still eventually need to be disposed of responsibly. Okay, that brings me to number 5. Number 5 is my tried and true go-to method of breaking a vape in a clear glass of water. You just dunk it in and drown it, basically. Now, fair warning, sometimes the vapes will sputter and even let out some vapor. So make sure that you feel safe doing this because the reaction that the battery has to the water sometimes does nothing, but sometimes it can be intense. Now, to make this way to break your vape very symbolic, I want you to keep it on your nightstand, especially if you are not all the way on the other side of your vaping addiction. In fact, you can do that with all of these examples. That way, whenever you wake up in the morning, or maybe even your time of day where you're triggered the most, you'll have an immediate visual reminder of how, but most importantly, why you broke your vape. Now, if you're one of us vapers who is hiding our addiction and you don't want anyone to see your beautiful trophy of a broken vape, then put it somewhere a little less obvious where it can still mean something to you visually. That is my all-time go-to favorite way to break a vape with the water example. I wonder what yours is. I like the water example personally because it is quick, effective, and can be done over and over again. And sometimes, my friends, it does take breaking your vape over and over again to build your resolve until you're absolutely done with it. I've had clients break lots of vapes multiple times, and eventually it always sticks. How fun are these strategies? I hope that you never throw your vapes away in the trash again. Instead, I want you to create true abundance of power for yourself that drips with symbolism and transformation by following the intention you made in regards to how you break your vapes and what you plan to do with them. So have fun with it, guys. Let your creativity flow and use one of the strategies above to make yourself a trophy that displays your commitment to living vape-free. And I would actually love to see pictures of what you guys come up with. Have fun with it and keep up the amazing work of thinking how to be vape-free. And I will see you guys next week. Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in today. If you like what was offered in today's show and want even more support, head over to www.breakvapes.com and schedule your free strategy session to discover exactly how my proven system can help you ditch your vapes for good. Bye for now.